Okay, so we have another area we're going to look at the report engine for compliance. So the report engine is a part of the tracking site where it's taking all the usage history and it's putting that into a formal report. And for compliance, we're talking about things like here in the U.S., like the EPA. Other areas might be like AQMD. This would be things like in California, like CARB. F-gas reporting in Europe and Great Britain, F-gas reporting. That's part of, these are all kind of the compliance items. We don't cover the compliance for every single, country. So if you're in, another country that like Canada or Australia, not a problem. You would want to go ahead and just make sure when your coding sites, set those up, for F-gas. It's a fairly, robust, set of compliance rules. And that's how I would sort of work through those. Over time, we will look to probably add in additional sort of compliance rules for other areas. I know here in the US too, we're going to probably also be adding in separate compliance rules for the states. So if you had the need to pull a compliance report individually, let's say the state of Colorado is going to do the same kind of reporting that California does, you'll see in that compliance report area, a separate report, the system would look to test and say, is this a site in Colorado? Site California. All right, great. Then for California, he would be part of, CARB. Let's dive in and look at that report area. This is sort of a set kind of area. You can't really make adjustments per se in the reports area except for the dates. So just think everything that's been sort of added in, all of those usage events, we're then moving into the reports area. So that reports engine's good. It allows you to pull a couple of different reports. You can pull like a GreenChill report as we're looking at right now, but if I were to choose from my system any place else in these other tabs, we want to go ahead and choose a individual sort of company and then a site, because these reports are really pulled on a site by site basis. Then it allows us to kind of come in like so in the reports area, and we can see, great, I've got a couple of different reports. So in this case, this EPA, sort of site list, if this particular site, just as part of the EPA, great, then we would see this is why we have the EPA reporting. If this was a CARB site, we would see CARB being an option here as well. GreenChill here in the US is a voluntary or optional program for the grocers. But if there are other sort of, kind of reporting agencies that may need to be reported on, like the F-gas I was talking about, we'd see them sort of all listed here. They're kind of living behind the scenes. The system is looking at the tracking site to see, are you a part of F-gas? Are you part of CARB? Are you a part of EPA? And that'll then, provide, the reports. Let's say you've got under the reporting side of things here, I don't have any kind of qualifying events. When you go and try and pull a report, the system is smart enough to say, yeah, I don't have any, there's no, items for, this report. And that would be the case, if we had something here under the CP report. So this all report is good. So if you wanted a quick summary and get a quick kind of PDF, we can adjust the dates. If I wanted a quick summary report for everything for this site in terms of all equipment, regardless of size, I could pull this PDF report. So if I do this like so, this pulls this will pull the report, and it'll give us a PDF, and it'll give us everything for the site. And we could pull these and then print these off, as needed. If we need to send these to somebody, you could, attach them. But this is sort of a look and feel, all the usage events, all the history, all the equipment. So this would have, multiple pieces of equipment and various sizes. We see here that there's a guy that's only 20 pounds. The difference with the compliance is that, maybe looking at things like the full charge size on the systems and then the gas type. So in the US here, if it's holding a class 1 or class 2 refrigerant and the system is 50 pounds or more, the EPA report sort of refines that a bit further. And what it does is it says, I'm only going to look at the 3-year look back, and I'm only going to give you the qualifying equipment that is going to be 50 pounds and greater on those class 1 and class 2. So this CFCs and the HCFCs, right now the EPA is not including the HFCs, but under the AIM 2020 Act, if they go ahead and they sort of pull that information, then the HFCs would be included. And I think with the way the EPA is moving, they will look to probably add those HFC refrigerants probably this year. So if that happens, the tracking site will be adjusted to kind of include those. So this is right now an EPA compliance report. So let's say we've got an EPA inspector showing up on site, or we've got an inspector maybe for CARB. I would pull a similar kind of report for them. This would give them sort of a look back on those larger systems and those sort of qualifying refrigerant types. So the difference on this report is we can't mess with the date, and we're only looking at those sort of larger systems. We were seeing before there was that 120-pound like HVAC unit, so that guy would not be included per se in here because he's sort of under the weight that the compliance would be looking at here on the system. So if that were to change, if the EPA said we're going to look at the systems at 25 pounds or greater, then the system would account for that under this compliance report. So let's say you have an inspector there. What would I give them? I would give them, this report. I print this off for them. So this is where I go to get the compliance report. You don't have to, think, well, do I need to make any adjustments like on the tracking site to get the report? No, you don't. And GreenChill, again, is if you're a participating member, you can actually pull the GreenChill report, pull it together so that you can actually complete that voluntary report with the EPA that's GreenChill. So just think, all right, I have an inspector here. I need to pull my compliance report. Or I just want to pull a usage report for everything. It's just a quick summary report. Just think, come into reports area. And that is our reports engine, and it's covering you guys in terms of compliance.